Welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abbie Richie. I'm the host, and I'm also the founder and CEO of Senior Savvy, which helps your residents with their technology. And today we've got a great guest with us. And before we launch into this, I just want to say thank you for everyone who's joining us today live. Thank you for joining us later on. Thank you for your wonderful comments. I love to see them. And with that, let's go ahead and run our intro. Welcome back to Tech Tuesday. I want to go ahead and invite my guest on. We have with us today Tod Petty. He is from Fin.io. Welcome to Tech Tuesday, Tod.
Thank you, Abbie. It is an honor and a pleasure being here. Very honored to be here.
Thank you. And go ahead and tell us about your background, if you would please, and tell us about what you do with Fin.
Yeah, be glad to. So I've been blessed to be in the senior space for over 20 years and was able to be involved with 4 different companies. Thrive Senior Living, I was president and COO, and Mainstay Senior Living was the middle market. I was COO and CEO and president. And then I helped a group at Lloyd Jones create Aviva Senior Living for about 4 years. So I've been in the CEO, the COO, and the president position with 4 different operating companies. I love operations, but I met the guys at Fin. I saw a deliverable I hadn't seen before. And so now I'm the chief marketing officer with Fin here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Excellent, excellent. And as Chief Marketing Officer for Fin, what exactly are you doing on a day-to-day basis?
Well, right now, Abbie, I think Fin is the best kept secret in the industry. I've worked with some really great people, Rob Lewis, the president, and John Thomas, the CTO, and I think they've been on your show before. And they've done a great job introducing this product and sharing, building it, sharing what it is. But I want to get this into the industry. I want to introduce the brand. I want to introduce the unique value propositions that it can offer. And I'm looking for partners to put it in their communities for free and partner with us, reducing their subscription fees so we can share more about this with the industry, because this is an awesome product we'll talk about. And I think everybody needs to know about it. I'm excited about it a lot.
I'm excited to hear more. And I'm also intrigued to hear about disruption. Now, I like disruption. I may at first grumble about it and say, I don't want change, but you know what? I really like disruption. In fact, I can remember back in the early 2000s, I was working for a broadcasting company, and I was trying to get them to get a website. and made a really big point of the necessity of having a website. So when we're talking about disruption in senior living, what are you thinking is going to have some of the biggest impact and implications?
Yeah, so there's the saying, disruption must take place for innovation to have space.
I like it.
Isn't that great? Because without disruption, and it doesn't matter whether we want it or not, disruption will come. There's a great book out by Dr. Clayton Christensen. It's about 1990 when he wrote it. It's called The Innovator's Prescription. And it was a disruptive solution for healthcare. And he goes in to find out, why is healthcare disruptive? And he found out, well, every industry is disruptive. And usually people come into the industry, they make a lot of investment in technology, they own the space for a long time. They attract the early adopters and the people that have the higher level of awareness to adopt it. But after they've transacted and they've had all this money spent, now it's evolving, customers want something different, and they've already got the early adopters, but they need a simpler solution, they need something more affordable, and they need to improve adoption to get the rest of the market, and they can't do it. So I had this great quote from Dr. Christensen. He says, fighting for reform, few companies have any weapons for systemic change. They can only work on improving the cost and the efficiency of their piece of the system. They don't have the scope and power or a commanding general to reconfigure the elements of their system. So they're armed with past data and they have no data for the future. And I wanted to give you one example for the audience, if you don't mind. So I remember back in 2008, 2010, I was so excited working as the president, CEO of Thrive at the National Investment Center, watching thought leaders there. And the question came up, was Wi-Fi a viable technology solution in senior housing? That was the question. And everybody on the panel said, no, it was not. We are not putting Wi-Fi in. We're not going to build the buildings to host it. Seniors don't want it. Seniors don't want it. And they were, 70, they'll never use it, and we're not going to put it in the buildings. So consequently, that wave was coming in. We saw the wave coming in. So as you know, Wi-Fi came in and iPad came in and a simpler solution. And when it hit the beach, everybody got in the beach and the water and said, oh, we're doing it all as well. But the people that rode the wave in owned the technology space. Even though they didn't really create it, it was coming in. And I was thankful at Thrive Senior Living to work with Jeremy Ragsdale. And Senior Housing News said we had the most technologically advanced building in around 2014 because we put in campus-wide Wi-Fi and video surveillance and RFID door locks and all these things. And so now everybody rushed to the space, and now we're having a change again. And I believe it was Senior Housing Foresight did a survey like, what about artificial intelligence? What about machine learning? What do you think about that? And 50% said no. We want resident contact. It won't be helpful, so we don't like it. The other half said, yeah, I think we like it, but that wave is coming in. It's going to change our lives. And I believe there's a day coming when people, I might say to you, Abbie, like, hey, Todd, are you driving tonight? Because we'll have automatic control car. I'm going to drive tonight. You're going to be, man, you are taking a big risk, because the artificial intelligence can learn so much more and make us safer than we ourselves can do it, because it's going to have so much data. So anyway, I think disruption's coming in all of healthcare because we need simpler technology. It has to be more affordable. It has to improve adoption. And the current technology now is not there. So someone's going to take advantage of all the 10 years of work that everybody's done and is going to deliver a simpler product that's going to scale, just like the personal computer. And just like, one last point, Toyota did with their Corolla by displacing the Cadillac. General Motors got displaced because Toyota came in with a simpler, easy to use, affordable car, and they took the market. And then 20 years later, it was Hyundai and Kia. It's the same thing is happening in our industry as well.
Yeah, we talk about technology and we talk about the integrations, and the adding on of the software and the service, and like there's so many integrations involved. Someone's going to come along and modify that and make it easier to adopt, right?
Yes. Well, I think that is the challenge we have now. We've had a lot of people external of this industry that saw opportunity. They saw a blue ocean of opportunity. And so there's been a lot of tech companies that have come into the space, not really understanding seniors, maybe trying to understand it. And so now we have a subscription-based software to do all these things that is just draining the NOI every month of $5,000 to $10,000 when you add all these things up for resident engagement and sales and marketing and healthcare and family engagement and staffing and all this stuff is a subscription. And to be competitive, they're just living out what Dr. Christensen said. They've tried to improve, add more, really on a system that almost looks like sometimes Windows 3.1, and it's just clunky. And I will say this, people say they have artificial intelligence, Abbie, but really a lot of people, when they say that, they're thinking software. We have software, that will collect data, and you can go and mine the data. So what I liken it to is I can give you different solutions. You can either use OneNote, you can use Evernote, you can use Google Notes, and you can take great notes of your residents and put it in there and have all that up there. But the problem is that unless I go in and mine that data and find out what's going on, then I don't know what's going on. And even think about this, plaintiffs' attorneys love our industry. And the minute there's an incident with a resident that's aging and they go out, even if it's not your fault, and someone gets emotional about it and sues, the plaintiff attorney is going to dig the records. And if you've got good records of people putting all this data in, but doing nothing about it, that's a problem. Now, that was failure to provide oversight. But if your system can share that the resident is at risk based on AI, machine learning, and we can encourage the resident to put that data in through gamifying it, just like you would LinkedIn or a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or I can put a halo on my head at LinkedIn now hiring. If I can do that in simple software that runs off an iOS system, I think we've got a simpler technology, more affordable, and it'll improve adoption. And that's what I think I have in Fen.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. There are very simple ways that we can integrate the technology so that it's very easy to use, and I like to see that more and more. Another area that, and you mentioned this earlier, and this has to do with adoption, but I think it's really important that the tech companies have a system in place to handle customer success ongoing through all of the staffing turnovers that senior living is incurring.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think that's a partnership with someone that's internal in the industry, like a strong home health company, a home care or rehab company. It has to do that because there's a mentality, and you know this, and I don't know if it changes, but there's a mentality, especially since the pandemic, that we can just share this data. We can, I can send out some videos, or I can, give you an online book that tells you what to do. And I've been the victim of that. I have launched being an early adopter and a champion for tech, I probably have adapted every data collection system there is in this industry. And it's always kind of an oversell because there's not boots on the ground, someone helping you adopt it, and it can fail. So that is something that is going to have to change. And that's going to require simpler technology, like we see in the new apps coming out that get people. That's why people use TikTok, right? That's why they use Instagram. It's easy to use. So I think that is a very important part of this is partnerships in the industry.
I'm glad you mentioned that. This is something that Senior Savvy's been doing and providing companies with, technology companies and senior living with, just that ongoing customer success piece, because it's so necessary. Once you've made the sale, you need to have the staff continuing to use all of the features and the new releases. Right?
Yes. So, and let me share a couple ways I think that can be done. So one is through you can gamify the application, and that's what we've done with Fen. So to encourage staff utilization, the more communication they have with Fen or our system regarding Abbie, the resident, it gives them points. So, and it's very simple to update it. I'm not going in there and taking notes that Abbie seemed cognitive today, and she was talkative, and her color was good. No, I'm just going in there and I'm hitting an emoticon with a smiley face. And if Abbie's emoticon is great for 7 touches during the day and the next 4 days, but all of a sudden we have a downturn. All the machine is learning, the artificial intelligence is learning when there's a problem to alert us to that. And all the while the caregiver is using it, they're having a scoreboard that the company can say, look, when you hit this X amount of points, you get PTO. Or when you hit this amount of X of points because you're using it, you will get a flat screen TV. So that's very key, but it has to be easy to use, no different than thumbs up and thumbs down in LinkedIn. Or thumbs up is all thumbs up, right?
Yeah, so smart, so easy to use, so easy to track, right? Yes. And that's all part of the extracting the data, understanding the data, how it plays into resident care. So let's talk a little bit about the future. And before we talk about the future, I do want to backtrack on one thing that you mentioned, and that was having a commanding general in the industry. And you know what? At Senior Living Foresight, we have a commanding general. His name is Steve Moran, and he is a master at disruption. So thank you, Steve, for walking ahead of us. Yeah, thank you, Steve.
Yes.
He's definitely into disruption and known as the town crier in senior living. So it's always helpful when you've got someone who's charting ahead, who's walking ahead of you for sure. So now let's talk about the great big future of disruption in senior living housing. What do you see coming?
Yeah. So first of all, I wanted to hats off real quick to Steve Moran. I mean, I first met Steve traveling to all the different conferences, and I love Steve because he was disrupting those conferences as well. You know,
Mm.
his dress, his approach, his warm personality. Just, you know, especially when we're all with a bunch of our analysts with ourselves, it can get kind of, you know, linear. And Steve has definitely added, you know, a spice to that. But look, we have lots of problems right now, and it's no secret. There's NOI suppression, net operating income suppression in the communities, and that causes a lack of transactions.
What do
And a
you
lack,
mean by that? That's those are some terms, and I'm not following you. Can you give me
yeah,
more?
no, that's a
Tell me
good
a
point.
story about that or something?
So obviously, everything we do has to drive income at the community level. In order for us to have new technology come in, we have to earn revenue. In order for an owner to want to build and provide a new product, he or she has to be able to transact. Um, if the NOI is not there, you can't transact. And the reason it's not there is for several reasons. One, we have a labor shortage, and we're having to pay higher labor costs to attract talent that wasn't
Hmm.
budgeted. Also, we have this thing called inflation, and you know, budgets that had $8 per day for residents' food is now $10, $12 a day. We also have interest rates, so to refinance debt is higher. They cannot refinance their debt, and it's escalating debt. So every month that goes by, it's creating more debt service, sucking the NOI out of the business. Now they're trying to be up to date with their technology, so they have multiple expensive software subscriptions because they can't bring them together. They can't
Yep.
combine them. They
Yeah.
have an aging population that's needing more care.
Hmm.
There's regulators that want them to age in place, so it's changing, and now they got to provide more care, which is creating more labor.
So many problems.
Yes, and then you have one incident, not even your fault, then insurance gets a claim paid out. Now you've got PL, all this stuff is escalating, and
Yep.
it's what I call NOI. It's suppressing the NOI. So
Okay.
you have all these things going on that need a solution to solve, and technology can solve these items in the future through a variety of solutions. But I definitely wanted to share with you how we're trying to solve it, if I may.
Yeah, I
So,
think this is a great comment that Donna just posted about this being such a great opportunity to show and share with families. Having this type of technology at your community is going to keep mom out of the hospital repeatedly with a UTI.
yes, exactly. So right now, and we plan to expand, we actually have 3 apps that can be downloaded from the App Store.
What
Um,
are they called?
yes, one is FinConnect, and that's for the national or regional management team for them to get data, find out how the community is doing with how many tasks are being accomplished and how many at-risk residents they have, and you know, to help them monitor and manage their teams. Then there's the FinCare, that's the community team. That's where it opens up and the residents come up, and it's got a like a LinkedIn image of the resident and with a halo if they're a DNR, and it lets us know every time we come in for that staff member who's at risk, and that at risk is being determined about by algorithms, which I'll share in a minute. And then what I think Donna's referring to is the Fin Companion. So the Fin Companion is a app that the family can download, and this is kind of why we can offer this software free to our partners, because we have in our communities right now we have an 80 to 90% compliance with families downloading the Fin Companion app, and they pay for it because on that Fin Companion app they can look and find out, hey, here are the meds mom is currently on. Yep, that's right. That looks good. Here are the tasks that have been done for her up today. Yep, her plan of service is good. That's what we talked about. They can even see communication, and we're going to finalize the chat version. They can see what resident engagement mom has had. And again, Abbie, this is real important. It's simple. They're not loading on. So we're not in the community loading onto a dashboard and clicking and trying to put all this data in. We're just putting resident participated in this activity. It's on the dashboard. Boom. Smiley
Mhm.
face, moderate, or maybe she's sad. That all goes in there. So the family's sense of comfort is very high. And what it does is, rather than coming in because, look, my mom does this to me. She's in a beautiful assisted living community, but it's like, oh, it's horrible here, Todd. No one's come to see me, and they fed me barbecue every day, and they don't let me out. And I'm taking your inheritance. So, I'm going down there, and of course, I know probably that's not right, but I don't. And so I'm spending 1 hour talking to everybody to find out what's going on with mom. But if I could download the app and I could look to see, well, look, mom's at the activities, and she is. Her medicines are correct, and really the doctor took her off one medicine. And we're going to be able now, we're piloting resident healthcare data from weight, body mass, hydration. This is really cool stuff. Steps, because even if I know how much my mom's walking, I know she has blood flow. I know
How are you extracting that information?
So we're working with a partner that has devices in the residence room. And this is part of the secret sauce. Don't want to get into this yet, but everybody's trying to figure out how to take the data and upload it. We have a way to do that. And once we can take the triage of the residents' daily vital signs, and we have that, and add that with behavior and mood, the algorithms are going to be able to establish a very easy baseline of how I'm doing. Not only that, whoever my home health company is that I'm partnering with, or my physician, that is a billable CMS code. So that triage can be billed for roughly someone north of $100 a month. And all this together gives us, and if the software is telling us, putting this all together, it's telling us when there's a problem. Look, I can go in, I've got 5-6 patients I have to take care of. I don't have to worry about them. And I can fulfill what the resident, the regulations tell me I need to fulfill. And that is, know the general condition of the resident, provide 24-hour watchful oversight. And when it changes, get help. And that's what this will do, simplified version in one simple platform.
Now, is this a scale that someone's standing on, like Zibrio has a scale, or is it sensor based?
Yeah, no, this is a scale. So I have one in my home, and this technology company's been around quite a while. And 10 years ago, I bought a scale. So I walk every morning. Sometimes I listen to a Steve Moran podcast, but I walk for about an hour, try to get, my steps in, and I hit the scales. The scales reads my blood pressure. The scales reads my hydration, my body mass, and my weight. And then it pushes to my phone every day, and it tracks it.
What's the name of the scale?
So we're partnering with Withings. It's a Withings scale. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And there's a device that hooks under the resident's mattress, and it monitors sleep.
Yep.
And there is a device as well that will monitor their blood pressure, their temperature. And again, we're trying to be able to, bottom line, feed this to Finn. So Finn can give us a baseline of what the resident's doing and let us know if it changes. So here's how this benefits the owner operator real quick. One is, if we have at-risk residents, we can mitigate episodic healthcare events. So they don't have to go out. We don't lose them out the back door. And we're documenting length of stay right now.
Okay.
Number two, we have residents that are getting more care than what their care plan says. And families always fight us on this, but if I can show them through the data, through graphs and pies and everything else we can do, they're much more open to saying, yes, I see where mom needs it because you have the data. And we've driven NOI the minute we put it into communities pretty significantly, which that's probably a topic for another show. Resident engagement is improved. And if we can avoid and staffing, so that's the other thing I want to share with you. So we can load balance staffing because we know which residents are taking the most time to care for, and we can change that so we're more efficient in our staffing as we see the load in the building. So all this affects NOI, every bit of it. It creates family satisfaction and resident satisfaction and even staff retention. So my team's job next, I have the easy job, is just sharing and getting excited. But they're documenting this so we can share this and partner with some folks to get those subscription fees off of their P&L. And certainly, 75%, Abbie, of the senior housing companies have 3 or less buildings. There's some big people out here, big operators, and they do a great job. But 75% of the owner operators have 3 or less buildings. Most of them are on paper. This is something we can put in their building, easy to use, and they can then, because under Fin, which is a healthcare data analytics software, we do have hosted EHR, EMR, CRM, sales and marketing, staffing, load balancing. We're adding Amazon Marketplace. And again, so what's in it for us? If folks are buying, supplies for their mom and dad on Amazon, we're going to share in that profit. So our goal is to try to create something free for the owner operators that we can partner with them on, and we can make money on the technology to other sources.
So smart. I absolutely love it to hear that you've got the marketplace going and load balance staffing. Like, that's just so smart and innovative. So well done.
Thank you. Well, the team gets all the credit. I showed up at the right time again.
You just show up and look good, and the team gets the credit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yes.
Right on. And so, what else are you looking forward to in senior living within the next, 10 years or so? What do you anticipate?
Well, so yeah, I have I'm very fond of a solution for the middle market.
Okay.
And, I've had the privilege of being on Solvita Development's board. They target distressed hotels and reposition them for senior housing. There's a lot of debate about this, Abbie. I left Thrive Senior Living, I think it was 2017, and I went to Mainstay Senior Living. It wasn't sexy. I mean, I didn't have people running me down because we were buying very distressed assets and repositioning them for senior housing. And we had our own construction company and our own architect. And I worked with a brilliant man named Louis Gerard. I've learned more from him than anybody I've ever worked for. And we bought stuff no one wanted. Reach wanted to get rid of 130 units of, a $3 million building. And I watched our team go in, put $3 more million of CapEx in it. And, a year later, fill it up with rents that were $500 less than everybody else. And it was a middle market affordable solution. And right now, no one's really incentivized to build new products that will meet the demands of the middle market. And people that say they have a middle market solution, Abbie, a lot of times what they do is they reduce staff and they cut the budget and because they don't want to reinvest in CapEx, and they call it a day and say it's a middle market. But I'm very hopeful that people are going to have a middle market solution that will bring down the debt service so we can reduce rents. And with a solution like Fin, where they don't have subscription fees, they don't have a cumbersome, software that they have to deal with, or residents or resident staff that's not using it, they can put it in fairly seamlessly, and they can deliver on a product that's much needed. Because the top 20, maybe it's 20, I've heard 10. We serve the top 20%. And the bottom 20% is cared for as well through government assistance. But there's like 60% of the middle that doesn't have a solution, and we need a solution. We're out of housing in 2030, and the baby boomers do not have an affordable solution. So I'm excited about that. And I really am excited as well about the active adult 55 and independent living products that are coming off the line because, and maybe I share this, this goes back to your technology question. This is so funny to me. So, we have people entering this space, excited, coming from other sectors like multifamily. And they're like, I'm going to put Wi-Fi in my buildings. And I'm going to have a very robust Wi-Fi system. So what they're talking about is guest Wi-Fi, right? Where we can all log in and there's limited bandwidth but really what we should be talking about is managed Wi-Fi. So rather than bringing Wi-Fi in and lots of devices and making that work in a budget, we can bring in what's called managed Wi-Fi. So when Abbie comes in as Abbie Richie at Thrive Senior Living, you have your own Wi-Fi. Independent Living or Active 55 Plus, you can then bring any devices you want in. CMS waived its requirements for telehealth, so you can get on your phone if the owners put in an antenna system for cellular, and you can have telehealth Your rehab company can come in. You can put devices in. I mean, you can put in a device on the wall that delivers your medication in independent living 3 times a day if you have capable Wi-Fi service. And so this is going to be a sanctuary for the baby boomers that are not ready to go into assisted living and want to try something different. They're going to go to these venues, and if we do it right, we'll have a viable venue. And when they need assisted living, they can go there. So I'm just very bullish about the whole industry. We just have to navigate through these tough times. But again, I don't think we need disruption in innovation. So another comment, I know I'm just kind of rambling here, but I'm just thinking about stuff. You know, look, it's great to put sensors in, you know, and hey, I know when Todd's up and he went to the bathroom 4 times a night. And oh, well, he's probably sleep deprived for sure. That's why his behavior might be changing. And maybe I'm staying in the bathroom longer and I might have a UTI, and all that's wonderful. But if it doesn't go,
there's nothing wonderful about a UTI. Okay, please continue on.
Oh yes, you're right. The data is wonderful, but really what we need is data to push to say, hey, we have a resident at risk. And then the team can come together working with machine data and a facilitator, real human beings, and gather the data to do something about it. Because right now we have a lot of solutions, very little engagement by the team because it's not gamified, and it's not being utilized like it should. So anyway, I think it's exciting times ahead for us.
100%. Yep, I feel the same way too. And thank you for our guests who have chatted us up today. I do like that today's chuckle, Christine. Thank you. And with just a little bit of time left, do you have any parting words, and how can people get in touch with you to talk more about Fin Solutions?
Yeah, no, I would love to talk to folks. I mean, you deserve it. You owe it to yourself to talk to me about a solution that potentially could replace a clunky system I know you're not happy with.
Yeah.
And there's no, let's take a look at it and decide. And like I said, we're looking for operators that can put it in one building and try it out. We can put it in new developments and just drive your costs down and assure the investors that we'll have a successful project. So I would like to do that. So I'm at Tod.Petty at fin.io. And I think if you could post my cell phone number there as well, I'd love to contact you, have a conversation. I'm going to plan on getting the word out as much as I can over the next few days.
Okay, and with that being said, sorry, Abbie disconnected. She popped out, but thank you so much, Tod. It was a pleasure getting to tune in. I know the audience was amazed by everything you had to say. Abbie getting back in, but I'll let her wrap it up. Let's
okay.
I'm so sorry, Jada. I am so sorry about that. Tod, so sorry. I just got kicked out somehow, but that's what happens on Tech Tuesday. And okay, you're putting up there how people can get in touch with you, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So do you want me to say that, or we're done? We're done, right?
Yeah. If there's anything else you want to share, you
got
so
feedback, Abbie. So constructive feedback. How do you think it went? I mean, can you tell by?
Oh, wait. We are still live. So I'm going to wrap up and thank everyone for joining us. Thank you for your patience while I got knocked off. And if you do need to get in touch with Tod, you can reach him, and his phone number was down below earlier. And I think we can go ahead and put that back up. And you can probably also connect with him on LinkedIn. So thank you again. And thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.